So yeah, my name is Youngsun, and I'm currently head of product for Flipster. Flipster is basically a emerging, a new and up and growing derivatives focused trading platform. Um, it's we've rebranded and built our MVP since 2023, so it's been 2 years and out. Having massive growth right now, but we're hungry for more. So we're currently trying to grow a lot and trying to be present across the globe. So that's where we are. And nice to have a great chat in Paris. Well, let's see how we go. Yeah. Exchange space is super crowded and congested. You see, like, I can't even count how many exchanges exist, although it's still nascent, right? It means that there are both two things. Number one, there are big opportunities from a profitability standpoint, but also number two, it's really hard to differentiate because we're more or less offering similar stuff. What we try to solve is that a lot of the exchange products, still for retail users that are not financial experts, are just hard, just plain out hard. And it used to be the case where Bitcoin or the early altcoins were at a rise because they were just born. Even if you're not an expert, just buying and holding it would allow you to ride through the growth of the industry. But I don't think we're at the stage where just by having one crypto asset, you're guaranteed to ride, let's say, 3 years out. So that era is already over. Now, with that said, how are we enabling retail traders or retail crypto consumers to be able to spot opportunities and be able to pounce on it? That's the, I think, challenge that a lot of the exchanges have to solve. But in reality, what a lot of exchanges are essentially doing is basically to maximize profit through, like, getting listing fees, through maybe just, making sure that there are more volumes. And we want to make sure that we're customer focused and provide the most value and fun, most important. So that's our basically pressure point. And we feel like the exchange industry is, specifically from a product perspective, um, has less innovation than we think. And it's pretty much evident if you see, let's say, if you open up 50 exchange applications, 49 of them would look the same with different colors. Yeah. So we want to move away from it, make sure that users are having a better experience. I think from an institution versus retail, or big players versus whales versus, let's say, small ants perspective, it was always the case. It wasn't as if like that wasn't the case, but it was just because there were less players and there were so many more to come that allowed these retails to win too, because there were the next retail that were coming in, especially if you look from when these first mobile apps have emerged, right? The apps like Coinbase, the apps like Binance, the apps prior to that, like some of the mobile apps that allow crypto trading has emerged. It was growing exponentially with people trying to get access to Bitcoin or Ethereum. Right now, I think it is not the case because already a lot of institutions are at play. So there are crypto hedge funds, they are quant traders, they are TradFi experts that are in crypto that are, pouncing upon arbitrage opportunities or inefficiencies already. So from a retail perspective, it was like a green field. Now you're fighting against, like, as if you're fighting against TradFi, like stock market. It's gotten a little bit similar. That's the environment where we're put at, but doesn't mean that you cannot win, right? Retail stock, like, investors or traders are still able to win. It's just that the crypto market is so much more volatile, and it's live 24 hours. So basically, either you wake up for 24 hours, you never sleep, or you're always exposed to a certain level of risk, right? What if you're sleeping and your Bitcoin plunges like 30, 40%? Unless you're a day trader, that closes all the positions before you go, like, go like if before you finish work, then you're always exposed to it. You can't respond to it because like you're sleeping. So that's the dynamics that we're put at. And from a platform perspective, we want to make sure that they know and understand what's going on. We don't want, yeah. So here's one example that we're doing. So we don't want users to just see, oh, Bitcoin just crashed. It's crashing, crashing, crashing. Like the price alarms, right? Oh, now Bitcoin's at 77K, 76K, 75K. But they don't know why. They don't know why it's plunging like suddenly, right? What we want to give is more contextual information that would help them make a decision. So something like this, oh, Trump has actually announced that they will execute upon this tariff policy, or CPI announcement has been more dovish. So those announcements are actually impacting Bitcoin price or crypto asset price real time. If we can layer those two in, we can give retail traders or users a perspective to speculate on. Like, oh, maybe if this was the reason behind the drop, then X, right? We cannot, ensure that like whatever scenario is going to happen, because I'm not like a forecaster or like some magician, but we can give them a contextual information to actually understand why these type of events have happened. The second example is like listing opportunities for specific exchanges. Now, if there is a spot listing for, let's say, a big exchange like Coinbase, Upbit, we tend to have a price increase of 20%, 30%, sometimes even more. Now, if you look at some exchanges that doesn't carry those type of contextual information, you will just see from a carousel or a list that this specific token out of nowhere has risen 20%. But why? Like, you wouldn't know, right? So I think what's important in crypto world right now is to make sure that the users have that access to relevant information so that they know why a specific symbol or a market is moving in a certain direction. Yeah, and then that would allow them to make a better decision. Social trading isn't necessarily going to make you win better, but it will definitely make you feel better. In a way, trading is a very lonely activity, right? You see on your app, like a lot of people are trading at the same time. They're all getting wrecked together, or they're all winning together, or whatever. And some players are being a contrarian, or putting a opposite position in. But the fact is, like, when you're on the app, you feel very lonely because you feel like you're the only one. Of course, you see a book that is moving, so that's the only area in crypto exchange app that you feel like you're not alone. But we want to make it more lively and more tangible for people to feel that you're not trading alone and you're kind of with this crowd or community, that you're doing this together. So to maybe learn about some perspective of a top trader on how he's kind of playing the game, or to know like, oh, generally this week, a lot of people aren't performing well because there's been like a brutal, ups and downs getting liquidated. So that would actually help people be more like, I would say like feel better in terms of not feeling that they are alone in this like gigantic volatility flow. So that's one part of the social trading. And I think at the end of the day, a lot of things that we do as humans, there are always social aspect to it. Why are we, emphasizing community in the crypto Web3 space? It's because it's part of our like essential need to feel like, hey, you believe in this, I believe in it too. So we're trying to inject that type of a sentiment and that type of entertainment aspect and the social aspect into our app for people to experience it firsthand. So the current market initiative is very much based on my personal experience. So basically, I've started trading. I've started crypto investing since like late 2016, early 2017. Back in those days, there were like 5 tokens, like Litecoin, Bitcoin, Ethereum. You could only buy so much from a centralized exchange. So whatever you buy, the next cycle after the dip would essentially make all of these go back up. Now, currently, every day, we're seeing just like infinite amount of token getting minted and supplied into the market. So the case is so much different, meaning that in the last cycle or the cycle before, you would have right through the spot. If you're not leveraged, if you're not on a perpetual contract, you would eventually make it back to a certain level. So you're much more safer and you feel much more, I think, at peace. Now, this market, even if you're holding some major altcoin, you're as good as getting liquidated. You're basically at like going to zero, but the chances are like you will not recover it. So it's as if you're getting liquidated from your perpetual contract. Even if you're holding spot without any leverage, it's just going to zero. So like, where do you exit? So that's the difference between, I think, previous markets versus this market. And some of them were actually like deemed to be the next Ethereum or like next, like, you know, innovative tokens. But if we look where they are at, like literally it's like 70%, 80% down from at the all-time high. And that's basically your maintenance margin. So you're almost as liquidated. I'm not sure if a lot of them will recover back. So the mindset of you being very early in the nascent industry of crypto and being able to ride through the entire exponential growth of that market has like that era of the crypto market, I think personally is already over. All the institutions are in, regulatory bodies are in, even governments are in. I think even if you look at a crypto app services user count, it's very much saturated. Like some of the apps have half the population, if not more, already registered and, you know, like using the service, which means there aren't much more to come. Like we always want to think that there's like ton more to come, but the reality is maybe we've had enough of them. It's just that they are not, it's out of their appetite. So they're not coming back in to inject their liquidity in. So unless there's a huge innovation or like a change of sentiment, then we'll be at a similar situation for the time being.